Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be building this vintage kit of the MiG-21 PF in 1/48 scale from Revell. And this kit is a vintage kit and it makes one of two versions as shown here. The first is the MiG-21 PF and the other is the PFM. So it basically comes with tail constructions of the two kits. So let's go ahead. I will be building this in the Indian Air Force scheme. I will be making an Indian Air Force MiG-21 FL, which is the Type 77 version, the most popular one used by the Indian Air Force for almost 50 years. So we take a look at the contents of the box, and here's 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues and a 5th sprue of the clear plastic parts. So I began by cutting off the parts from the sprues, and it's a pretty bare cockpit here, but the fit of the parts is quite good, and as per the instructions they just slide into place, which was quite a surprise for such a vintage kit. The instrument panel is this clear part and calls for a decal to be attached. And here's a funny thing about this decal of the instrument panel. So as you can see, it is completely black, and for once it made me think that probably this decal needs to be thrown away because there is no detail whatsoever on it. However, when I slid it onto the clear part of the decal, I saw some magic, and I will show that to you shortly. So once the decal is applied on the clear part, pick it up with the tweezers, and there you have it. That's the detail which is on the other side of the decal. So nice detail here, but I would have expected it to be a little more accurate than that white with black instruments. I then moved on to the assembly of the fuselage, and I cut out the two fuselage halves from the sprues, and then first began painting the gray interiors or the gray blue interiors of the MiG-21 fuselage, where the engine will be mounted, and in the front as well in the cockpit. Then I joined the two fuselage halves together, and you can see that the fit is pretty nice. Not expected from a vintage kit of that sort, but I was happy that the fit was quite nice. I then took the PFM tail construction and began working on the tail for the Type 77 aircraft. Now the spine of the aircraft is actually built with these three parts. So the first one is the center one, the second one fits right behind the cockpit, and the third one is actually the PFM tail structure. And as soon as I fit the cockpit, it clearly shows the gaps that would have to be addressed and some reconstruction that would be required in order to make the kit look better. So here's a look at all the areas that would need filling, sanding and reconstruction on the top and bottom of the fuselage. Finally, after all the filling and sanding was over, I sprayed Bosnia black primer over the entire aircraft, and I didn't record the filling process because who wants to waste time with that? Anyway, then I moved on to a bit of marbling, and this technique is used to show some fading effects. So the trick is basically to use a lighter color or a lighter shade than the actual base coat that you will be applying finally on the aircraft, and you would use this method called squiggling. So that is making these little small rounds all across the panels in the aircraft, and later on you would blend this squiggled pattern with the main base coat in order to show the fading effects. Once the marbling was done, I then started painting the dielectric areas with Fevicryl Sap Green. And we've got this ventral fin, we've got this dielectric on up there on the rudder and in the front, and also on the nose cone of the aircraft. And here's a look at how the aircraft turned out after the squiggling pattern and the dielectrics were painted. I then used my wife's bindis, and these are really handy when you want to actually paint that dielectric which is up there right behind the nose gear bay door cover, and it fits perfectly. I then used my Fevicryl grey blue color, which I produced by mixing white, black and a little bit of turquoise blue, and I began blending the marbled coat with the Fevicryl IAF grey blue color. Here you can see the perfectly round results that I achieved by masking with bindi. And finally, it was the straightforward procedure of applying the decals. I printed the tail number and the fin flash at home with my handy dandy inkjet printer, and then I moved on to a little bit of weathering because I wanted to show this aircraft to be really old and beat up. So I used my Camlin oil colors to basically enhance the fading effects on the surfaces of the aircraft. So there you have it. That's the completed MiG-21 Type 77 of the Indian Air Force. I armed it with a centerline drop tank and two UV-16 rocket pods. My 2 cents with this kit: it's nice for the price that I paid to get it. A little bit of weathering did enhance the looks on this aircraft, and I really enjoyed that weathering part. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and do consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.